Good evening. This is Julie White, and so happy to see all of you tonight. This is our team Zoom for March the 9th. It's just amazing how quickly 2020 is moving along. But I'm super excited to have you guys on our Zoom tonight, and I'm really privileged to introduce to you our guest tonight. Her name is Kristy Spring, and I'm going to give you just a little bit of her background. Kristy has dedicated her life to educating people through a holistic approach to health and wellness. And after traveling the world as a missionary and homeschooling her children, she has spent the last 5 years building a successful network marketing business. She has learned from her experience as a health and wellness coach and former beauty queen, recording artist, wife, and mother. She's now committed to sharing the knowledge with others, and she has recently gone back to school to receive her certification in applied functional medicine. So that's really exciting, Kristy, and it's just an honor and privilege to introduce you tonight. Just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to share with us tonight. We're excited to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Julie. It is indeed an honor to be here with everybody. Running right into the house at like 15 minutes till 8. My son had a double header today. As you said, Julie, that we formerly homeschooled, and this year decided to put my son into a small private school, and so he's now in the full swing of baseball season, and this is a new season for mom. So today I volunteered to work in the concession stand and didn't remember that it was a double header. So. And it's cold here and rainy, and oh my goodness. So it's just great to be here. I always love being with my Lifevantage family. So it's an honor to be here tonight. And Julie, would you like for me to start in and share?
Absolutely. If you could start by sharing your story and,
Okay.
then the other things that we had discussed would be great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I was introduced to the product Protandim 5 years ago. It would have been February of 2015. I was actually introduced to the woman that told me about Protandim. I was introduced to her in 2014, and I'll just back up and make this as quick as possible. But I moved back to my family farm in 2013. After living away for 30 years, and quickly realized that my parents, both of them actually, were in poorer health than we had actually even thought. That being said, my mother was diagnosed with a neurological issue in early 2014, and having had the background that I had as we had traveled all over the world, I had taught fitness classes. I'd been a wellness coach, health and wellness coach through the YMCA. I had worked with people all day long when I was at work that wanted to change their health. And man, oh man, knowing what I know now, I wish that I had the knowledge about the things that I am learning, that I still learn today, certainly what I've learned in the last 5 years. But I was introduced to the product Protandim, the NRF2, simply because I went on a search. I went on a search for something, an alternative, a complementary alternative method or medication, as the doctors call it, complementary alternative medicine that my mom could take, because we were desperate. Because you guys, we had gone to the neurologist many times. And after about the 4th, 5th visit, I had to ask him, what's going on? Can you just give us some kind of indication? And of course, he gave us his best indication. And then he gave us a long list of, I call it a long list of prescription meds. And you know what? We did like most Americans, and we went home and we got the prescription. And she started taking those. And when your mother comes back and says, hey, I don't want to take this anymore, I feel like a zombie, I went on a search, and I'm a researcher. And so friend of a friend, I'm making this really short. There's a lot of little nuances that mean a lot to me that probably won't mean as much to you, but just for the sake of time, You know, when you get curious about something, you often find, and there's an old proverb that says, if you seek, you'll find. And I went on a search and I did find it. And a friend of a friend said, you've got to meet Renee Parker. She's got something. I don't really know what it is, but she's got something that you need to hear about. This could possibly be what you're looking for. So I'll be honest with you. It took about 3 months or so, you know, just to get connected. And boy, when we got connected 3 hours later, I knew that what I had just been shown, all right? And it was simply the ABC primetime video. And then a woman that was gracious enough to sit honestly for 3 hours. Now, I don't now teach my team to do this. I don't recommend that you sit with someone for 3 hours, but I was so curious and I was so enamored and in awe of the science that it blew me away. In fact, I had 3 of the ingredients of the Protandim in my cupboard. And so I was real curious about the synergy of these 5 herbs. So Renee indulged me. She was gracious to spend that time with me. And afterwards I said, I want whatever you have with you today. And then I'm going to order enough because I want not just my mom on this, I want my whole family on this. And so that was the start of my journey, you guys. I'm going to say 3. Honestly, I don't remember how long it took me, but once she left, I then stayed curious, and I stayed really curious about the business model that was wrapped around this product. And back then it was just NRF2. We had the skincare, everything was kind of, I think, in motion for NRF1. Certainly in motion for our health, our weight management system. But I was convinced that this NRF2 was going to do wonders, and it did. And I'm happy to share those privately. I don't want to go on the record sharing all that it did for us, but let me just tell you this, it changed our lives. And it gave my mom a quality of life. Many of you might have seen her walk across stage with us, because every rank advancement, she was there and she walked across stage, with the exception of 2018. And that was the end. That was her last year here on earth. But you guys, the quality of life that she had was amazing. It was remarkable. And I credit that to a lot of things, but I credit it to the fact that I had gotten curious and I was introduced to a product that does what it says it does. It just does. And so 5 years now, I worked this business. Renee will tell you that I called her and said, how am I like bugging you? Because I'm like calling you 5 times a day. And she said, absolutely not. I wish I had more people that were calling you 5 times a day. So if you're new on this, whoever your enroller is, whoever you are working with, do not be afraid to call them 5, 6, 7 times a day, because they want to work with you. I tell people all the time, I work with the people that call me. You're not calling me, I'm not going to work with you. You know why? Because I'm not going to call you. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, when you first enroll someone, yes, I'm not really that harsh. I'm not a harsh person, but what I'm saying is I just, I want those people that are so ready and they are on the phone calling me, asking me questions. And honestly, you guys, that's how I learned. I did what I was told to do. 3-way calls. Okay. I'm going to do 3-way calls. I still have people on my team to this day that hate 3-way calls, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You got to find your groove. You got to find your way. You got to find what works. But let me just tell you, 3-way calls for me personally, and that's, one of the things that I want to share with you is that best business strategy. Number one is just to be teachable. All right. It's just to be coachable. It's to be open to something new, something different. Because what you're bringing into this business, I had been a networker, you guys. I'd traveled the world, 30-something countries, lived overseas, traveled all over. We had, in our family, we had been networkers, and that was a plus for me. But I had never been in network marketing, and so I had a lot of learning to do. So I had to stay curious, I had to stay teachable, I had to stay coachable, and I just did what I was told to do. So for me, the the thing that I actually found helpful was the fact that Renee Parker would do three-way calls with me. And then she introduced to me this powerhouse of a woman that still to this day runs rings around me, Jackie Shepherd. And Jackie and I connected at a deep level. And Jackie Shepherd did three-way calls with me. We would set aside blocks of time during the week. And you guys, I just made from the beginning, I made a decision. I am going to spend, I was a homeschooling mom at the time, living in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle of nowhere, but having had a huge network because we had traveled the world. And so I did I worked the system, and we set aside blocks of time during the week that I would get on the phone, and some of that was successful and some of it wasn't. And I learned early on that you divorce the results and you marry the process. You know, you cannot worry about the results, because if the results don't happen that day, most of us quit. That's just human nature. We quit. And I was talking to someone at the concession stand today. The one of the dads volunteered, and we were just talking about failure. You know, we were watching our boys play ball, and we were talking about teaching these young kids, you know, the stamina, character. What is true character? It's just, honestly, boiling it down, it's just not quitting. Failing is not a bad thing. In fact, failing is actually good because it's an opportunity to learn. And so I failed a lot in the beginning of growing my Lifevantage business. But you know what I did? I just made a decision that I was going to do this. I was excited to do this. And I had results. I went Pro 3 in 90 days, in less than 90 days. Whatever the company incentives were at the time, I got those. And that was a huge boost for me. That was a huge belief builder for me in the beginning. And remember, I didn't have network marketing as a profession experience. I had networking experience, right? You can't be a missionary. How many missionaries do I have? I mean, you can't be a missionary and not be a networker, right, Mark Harris? You know what I'm talking about. You got to network with people, right? You got to love people. You got to like people, or at least pretend that you do, right? And so what I needed to learn was to be a professional networker, network marketer. And so there are certain things that our company had back then, and certainly fast forwarding now, you guys, one of the things that I'm so excited about, and I'll be honest with you, I ventured out into social media. So one thing, number one, I worked the system. For me, it was validation. That just seemed to work super duper well for me. And in the early days of my Lifevantage business, that validation was a third-party call, right? Now we fast forward into the world of social media. We have a little more playroom, right? I don't have to call Renee Parker 5 times a day. I don't have to call Jackie Shepherd 5 times a day, although I love those ladies and adore them and like the fact that they're in my life. I'm now kind of grown into a place, you know, as a Pro 6 that I don't need them quite as much. And that's the natural progression, right? I still need validation, but I find validation in different areas. And one of those things that I've found super duper successful is social media. And again, I'm out in the boonies. And so social media for me is a way that I can network with people all around the world. And excuse me, just 1 second. I just need to text my son to check the pizza. It's a cauliflower pizza. So we ran in the door, had to forego going out with a team because I had to get home to do this, which I'm delighted to do. But anyway, I need to tell Isaac to check the pizza. So I'd lost my train of thought. Oh, so business strategies kind of change over time, right? And even now, our company, the one thing I love about Lifevantage is that they're constantly working with the people out in the field, right? They have a field team that goes out, and they work with people to find out what are the needs, and some of it, I don't know, some of it's slow, some of it's you know, as a business owner, there have been times when I've grown frustrated because of maybe something that wasn't done, but who am I? You know, I still work the system, and I'm loving the fact that our company is now venturing out and giving us more tools So if you're on here tonight and you're new, I would just say, you know, find that thing, that sweet spot, and run with it. If you find something that works for you, run like your hair is on fire. I think Jill Campbell coined that phrase, not me. But I've heard her say it over and over. Run with your hair on fire. Just milk it, right? And then when that seems to, everything, there's an ebb and a flow, right? So now for me, social media is where it's at. And so we have private groups that we can send people to for validation. I can even do validation on three-way messenger, a three-way call on Messenger. I don't just have to use my cell phone, like to do an actual three-way call. I can do a three-way message or a three-way video call, or I can hop on a Zoom. I remember early on, I used Zoom a lot to do one-on-ones and three-way validation with people in Australia. When I was building, I have a small team in Australia, and I used that a lot. So there are so many ways. Here's the key, in my opinion, is to stay teachable and stay coachable, and just to stay open to learning something new. You guys, I'm 53, so I kind of am set in my ways, but here's what I have endeavored to do my whole life. All right. And I was raised in the South, raised by a farmer and a wife, stay-at-home wife. So I've got a lot of reasons to kind of be staid and dull and not wanting to change, right? But be willing to change. Be willing to change something up that just might be the next sweet spot that you need to get into to help you grow your business. And life ebbs and flows. Life happens. Back to the failure thing. You're not a failure. Failing is not failure unless you just quit. And so remember when I said you got to divorce the results and marry the process. This is a process. You're going to grow as a person. I'm still growing as a person. I'm still got lots to learn. Because guess what? What got me to Pro 6 isn't going to get me to Pro 7, Pro 8, Pro 9, Pro 10. I've got to figure out not necessarily a new way or a different way, but what's my next sweet spot that's going to help me get on the trajectory that I want to get on. Okay. So you got to decide. And again, reach out to your upline, your down, your cross line, go to events. That's another, people want to know what's the latest business strategy. You know what? Work the system and go to events. You know what I love about events? It's like getting together with family. I've got my immediate family, which is my upline and my downline. And then I've got all my cousins, which I call my cross line. And I build relationships. Did I thought my internet just kind of got wonky.
You're still with us.
Okay. So going to events for me has allowed me to get to know people that are not in my immediate upline. So I don't have to like suck all the life out of them. Does that make sense? I've made friends in Lifevantage outside of my legs, so to speak, that guess what? I can call any one of those for a three-way call validation if I need, for a messenger call. So lots of things that as you grow and as you go, you're going to grow and you're going to find things that work and find things that don't, and be willing to let those roll off and move forward. So that is, in a nutshell, my best business strategy. And I'll be honest, I went through a really kind of a tough time last year, and it felt almost like my business is, thank God I'm, maintaining, but there's such again, in life, there's the ebb and the flow. And let me just say this, I'm so grateful that I started digging this well 5 years ago. Because life happens and life sometimes is not pretty. It's not all wrapped up in a nice little box with a little bow around it. And so I'm grateful now being able to sit here tonight, having began to, or having, dug that well, or beginning to dig that well in 2015 and moving forward. So Any questions, Julie? Anything that?
Kristy, you shared a lot of wisdom tonight, and you're very encouraging, very inspirational. I just really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to just kind of wrap up my portion of sharing just with some of my favorite products. You know, we have, again, amazing lineup of products, and I won't, many of you probably, I don't know how many new people we have on here, but if you are new, I just want to encourage you, start with your website. Okay, Lifevantage has hit the ball out of the park with the new website. All of the information is right there on your website. And if you're new, this is another little tip. When I first started, you know how I sounded like I knew what I was talking about? I was on a phone. I was not on a Zoom because they couldn't see me. I was on the phone, and you know what I had in front of me? I had my cheat sheet. I had my website pulled up to the ingredient list. I had my website pulled up to the benefits of Protandim. I mean, you guys, you do what you have to do. So I called it my cheat sheet. And I encourage you to do that. Have your cheat sheet out. You don't have to be a Jackie Shepherd, who is like, in my mind, you know, she's like the epitome of the science, right? But here's the deal. You can't wait for Jackie to help grow your business. You can't wait for Jackie to come into town. You can't wait for Dr. Skip Campbell to come into town. You can't wait for the next event to happen to build your business. You've got to get in front of your computer, and our new website, you guys, has amazing information right there at your fingertip. So if you're not familiar with the new layout, spend some time going through each product. If you're talking on the phone with someone, and I'm going to just show you real quick. So I've got the Vitality Stack here. I take more than this, but this is what I had and I grabbed. This ProBio. So we're going to talk a little bit about gut health and why this is my favorite thing to talk about, because I am going back to school to get my certification and practitioner's license as in applied functional medicine. People are like, what in the world is that? Well, it's simply this. It's just treating the whole person. Conventional medicine says, oh, we're going to treat your heart. And then you go down the hall or across the street to the kidney doctor. Oh, now I'm going to treat your kidney. But here's what I'm learning in this school, in which I'd already been learning the last 5 years, is we cannot just treat one organ by itself. It's part of a whole person. And the heart can't function if the pancreas is not functioning properly. And so functional medicine tends to go upstream and downstream. Okay. So we have the best, hands down. And I know this mainly because of my own experience. I used to spend upwards $1,200 a month on supplements, you guys, trying to get my adrenal fatigue taken care of, had hypothyroidism, you name it, stress to the max. Thank you, mission field. No, I'm teasing. It was the mission field and then moving back to the States. It was everything. I'm kind of joking about that, but life, right? Life, the stressors of life. And I was trying to heal my gut, and I was on a search, and I boy, whew, but I'm thankful because I don't have to spend $1,200 now to heal my gut. So my favorite products of Lifevantage, I love our probiotic. I spent a lot of years spending a lot of money on probiotics. How many of you have gone into Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, but really Whole Foods was the place to go when I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and I would spend, what felt like hours looking at all of the probiotics and trying to find the one that had the most bacteria strains in it, because I thought the most bacteria strains in it was the best. Well, now I know that's not the truth. Ours only has 6 billion in it. And there's a reason for that, is because ours has a little coating on it, uses a patented a patented technology called BioTrack. It's like a little jacket. It's a coating. And so when I swallow these, they are round. So some of my folks are like, I can't swallow a round pill. And I'm like, yes, you can. It's good for you. Do it. So just, I remember Dr. Natalie, she said, just turn your head, don't strain, turn your head and swallow that pill and it'll go right down. Promise. turn your head either to the right or to the left, and it'll go right down. The thing that I love about this is that it's safe in the stomach acids until it gets to the large intestine, the small intestine, large intestine, and then it begins releasing into the gut where it needs to be. And so for that reason alone, I love it. But it also has another patented technology called Wellmune, which helps to boost the immune system. So go figure. Again, in functional medicine, if we know if we don't have a healthy gut, we are not going to have a healthy body. We're not going to have a healthy brain. We're not going to have a healthy heart. We're not going to have healthy kidneys. And so this helps to basically heal the gut. It helps to protect. It helps to bring those junctions in the gut that tend to get leaky, right? It helps to bring those back together in tight junctions so that toxins don't leak into the body. And most of Americans, because we eat such a really crappy diet, just have really bad gut. So this is a great place to start. If I'm working with someone and they cannot start on the Vitality Stack, I tend to recommend that they start on NRF2 and the probiotic. Okay, the probiome. Now we have the prebiotic, which is simply the sunshine and the fertilizer for the seed that we're putting into our gut. That's the way I think of it. I'm a farmer's daughter, so I understand how that all works. You put a seed into the ground, right? And then you've got to fertilize it. It's got to have water. It's got to have sun. And so our prebiotic is an amazing product that helps to feed the good bacteria that we're putting into our gut. So you can't go wrong with those combinations. If I'm working with someone and I'm just getting back to my text because I want to end with why I like NRF2 so much and why I think those two combinations together are great for a lot of reasons. I mean, for example, losing weight. If you're trying to lose weight and your gut is not healthy, you're not going to be able to maintain a good weight loss, a good weight. And that's what we're all about, is maintaining. I spent a lot of years abusing my body because I was in the pageant system and the music industry in Nashville, and I did a lot of bad things to try to have the perfect body. Thank God I have these products now because I am repairing, or have been. I started that journey before I found Lifevantage, but I am so thankful for these products because they really do have helped me repair a broken body. In a nutshell. So let's start on the Vitality Stack, or someone cannot start on the Tri-Synergizer with the probiotic. I always start out with here's the ultimate, right? Here's what you need to be. If you're asking for, because most people ask, they're going to want to know, what do you recommend? So you got to be prepared to share with them, what do you recommend? And I say, well, here's what I recommend, because this is what I do. Now, if they kind of, you got to read people, you got to listen more than you talk. And I'll know straight away if someone, gosh, I don't know that I can budget that right now, right? Can't put that into my food budget. I try to, how many Starbucks a day are you drinking? Let's really pare this down and talk practically. How can we get you started on the road to recovery? And if they can't, then I just say, look, let's start you out on NRF2 and the probiotic, especially if I'm dealing with someone with a really bad gut, okay? That probiotic is going to work wonders for them. I have customers that just take the probiotic, right? So I love that. And the reason I like NRF2 is, I mean, who doesn't like NRF2? I mean, what is there not to like about NRF2? It's a powerful, powerful little yellow pill. One of the things as I've learned, and especially after now having had experience with really both my parents, my dad passed away in 2016, my mom passed away in 2018, but knowing what I know about glutathione, the mother of all antioxidants, our bodies needing that and our brains needing that, let me just tell you, there will never be a day that I don't take NRF2. If everything else were to go away, or if God forbid, something were to happen and I could only afford one product, it would be NRF2. I don't ever plan to not take that. We know that, and here's the deal, we know that oral glutathione has some benefits. We know that NAC, we call it NAC, not NAD, but NAC is a precursor to glutathione. A lot of asthma patients get that when they're in the hospital. It's great for the lungs. But guess what? That's just a precursor to making it glutathione internally. But it's not turning on your body to make those antioxidants. And that's one of the things that makes, in my opinion, and it's not just opinion, you guys, it's science, it's backed by science, that it switches on, it flips that switch in our body to cause us to make antioxidants so that we don't have to take them. And remember, I told you I spent a lot of money taking antioxidants. A lot of those supplements that I was buying, I spent a lot of money taking antioxidants, and I was really creating expensive urine. With Protandim, NRF2, my body is increasing glutathione production by 300%. Some more, the other two very important antioxidant enzymes, superoxide dismutase and catalase. And those are really the three biggies. You get that into your body and you start, and I work, when I'm talking to people, as you remind them, this is a cumulative effect. It is going to just get better and better. And some people are like, well, I don't feel it. Well, did you feel yourself getting heart disease? I mean, maybe you woke up one day and you're like, I can't walk up the stairs, right? But it didn't, you did here, and again, from a functional standpoint, everything is interconnected. Everything is interconnected. So you didn't just wake up one day with heart disease. That started a long time ago. And most likely you didn't feel that a long time ago until today. And now you're feeling it. You see what I'm saying? So it started way before. So with Protandim, people have to understand that this is a cumulative, it's cumulative. The effect is, and it's turning your body, your own body, turning on your body to make its own antioxidants, that has far more benefits having been made internally than taking them, or even an infusion that costs a lot of money. And that's one of the things that I love about Lifevantage, is that our products are activators. They're not really supplements, although I say it's a supplement that activates the body. But do you understand the difference? We're talking about activators. And you guys, in my opinion, we've got the best on them. We've got the best. We are the best on the corner. And for that reason, I'm a lifer. I have a lot of friends that have, I've watched their progression in network marketing over the last 5 years. And I find it interesting that some of those friends started out with some other company. Now they're in another company, and then they go to another company. And you guys, I mean, for me to quit Lifevantage is going to have to shut the doors, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. So I'm a lifer. It has been so good to be with you guys. I've talked a lot tonight, but Julie, thank you for inviting me. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Oh, thank you, Kristy. That was incredible. Appreciate, your information you shared on the products as well as the business. And I just, what you said just resonates with me. I've been talking to my husband on and off about this over the years, and he's like a science researcher. He's been a science teacher for many years, and he's the one that really got us involved in this, because he went on PubMed. He said he had never seen a natural supplement that proved that it does what it says it does.
Yeah,
because he hadn't seen one on PubMed before. So that was pretty amazing. But he just doesn't get it when people feel like they have to feel something. Yeah. He said he doesn't understand why anyone would quit, taking our NRF2 just because they don't feel something, because the science proves, how you said, it's increasing our production of glutathione and lowering the oxidative stress. And that's like amazing.
Well, I think it speaks to the culture that we live in. We are a culture that wants to feel immediately. You know, it's the microwave mentality, so to speak. And so people want to feel things. And, you know, I have changed the way rather than saying you won't feel it, you might not feel anything, I say, well, you may feel like you're sleeping better, or you may feel like you have a little more energy in the afternoon where you know, used to have a lull or whatever. So it's just, sometimes it's changing the way we talk to people to help them think out of their boxes. People get stuck in a box real quick.
Right.
You know? But you're right. We do live in a culture that wants to feel it.
And that's a good way to handle it, you know, just encouraging them to look for those different things. So that's good. Okay, if somebody has a question, feel free to type it in the chat box, and Kristy's available to answer any questions. Let's see if we have anything here. Okay, one question from Barbara. How do you keep track of prospects and partners?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you how I did it in the beginning. Okay. Do you know those, and I don't have it with me, but the little school books that have the black and white, you know, now they make them red and white, green and white, you know, I bought those, and when I would sit down and have a phone call, reach out to someone, I made notes on that person, and I made the date. I put the date on the top. And so I could go back to those pages, and I made detailed notes of our conversation, where they were in the process of starting either a business or, so in the beginning, that's what I did. Along with that, I also learned how to use the tools in the back office. Now, I think that we've improved a lot in the back office. In our virtual office with the detailed genealogy and all of that. So I'll be honest with you, I'm still in the process of learning how to best keep up, because I've grown. I mean, I know this, it's better to find something, and I think it's better to find kind of a system to use as you grow, because you're just going to get bigger and you're going to have more people. Then, I mean, at the end of the day, again, you're going to be working with those prospects that are the hottest prospects. And let's all be honest, we all have distributors that we all know and we love them, but they're not working the business anymore, right? So I use a combination. I keep detailed notes, and then I also use my virtual office.
Very good. Another question here, would you ever recommend ProBio, maybe one pill, they say, or a half, to a 1-year-old who struggles with bowel movements?
Oh, man. Well, the idea of cutting it in half would take away the efficacy of having that coating on it, right?
Right, yeah, that one hurts.
So it would be very difficult, but I will say this. I did have a mom, now she's not using it anymore, and I don't really know why. But for about 3 years, she had her young son. Now, I want to say he was a little older than 1 year old. But I would tend to say, let's try the prebiotic, because you can put it in. My granddaughter just turned 2. That's her drink. I mean, she thinks it's she thinks it's something like Gatorade.
It tastes good.
It tastes delicious. So my daughter puts that in her little sippy cup, and she sips on that all day. So that has been super helpful. You know, I would say you never know until you try. And if the child can chew it up, maybe try that. It's still not gonna, it's, you know, if we know that if the probiotics, I think the statistics are 4%, less than 4% get into the actual lower gut without that coating. And so, you know, ours has a 60 to 70% efficacy rate as opposed to the others. So that's a hard question. I would say give it a try.
Yeah, that is a hard question. I know my daughter, now she was older than 1, of course, but she could not swallow even like the Protandim, and she started out just taking a half of the NRF2.
Yeah.
And what worked for her was putting it in a spoonful of yogurt,
Yeah.
and the yogurt would just kind of make it glide down, and you know, she didn't
Yes.
have any trouble with that. I don't know if the ProBio might work in with some yogurt or not, but I think you're right in that, you know, really to be able to receive the maximum benefit from it, you have to keep it in its whole form. But the prebiotic drink, that's a great idea, and it does taste delicious.
Yeah, and she loves it. Adelina absolutely loves it. She asks for it.
Yeah.
She knows where the little jar is, you know, so that's what I would try.
Well, thank you so much, Kristy, for answering those questions and for being our guest tonight. You did an amazing job. We so appreciate all the information you shared with us. I took a lot of really good notes, and it was very helpful. So it's great to see you on here. And again, it's just been an honor to have you share. I love your story, love the tips and everything that you shared, your knowledge on the products, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much.
It's my delight. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I want to thank everyone for joining tonight. I just wanted to see, I see Mark Harris is still on here. Mark, did you have anything you wanted to share or add?
How much we love Kristy Spring.
Yes.
Yeah, I can just, my validation for Kristy is that she qualifies for leadership because she's an overcomer. And we love you, Kristy, and we think the world of you. And I'm just so proud to see what you're doing, and just so excited to be able to run this journey with you, especially as somebody with a kingdom mindset, with a missional mindset. And you're just our kind of folks, so we love you, girl.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. Yep. Thank you. Okay, well, I guess that wraps it up for tonight. So I want to thank everybody for being on here. We really appreciate it. And next week we have a great guest speaker, Fred Davis. He's a Pro 8. I'm not sure how many of you know him, but he's fantastic. And I'm going to ask him to share about how to paint the vision to get people's minds open to taking a look at what we have. So I think that's going to be great. So thank you, everyone. We love you all. We appreciate you. Have a blessed rest of the week. And thanks again, Kristy.